One person, one strategy call. That's the difference between Ferrari winning a championship and throwing it away again. And right now, her name is everywhere in the paddock. The 2026 season is showing real progress, no doubt about it. The SF26 can go toe-to-toe with McLaren and Mercedes, especially when it comes to race pace. Charles Leclerc looks sharper, calmer, and way more in control than before, like he finally trusts what's under him. Lewis Hamilton brings serious experience and a sense of order the team has been missing for years, and you can feel that influence building. Under Fred Vasseur, Ferrari is slowly finding its footing again, getting more stable behind the scenes. But there's a frustrating pattern that just won't go away. Time after time, Ferrari puts itself in a strong spot early in races, only to throw it away with slow or overly cautious strategy calls that leave fans stunned. There have been multiple moments where they just didn't react fast enough to sudden changes, especially during safety cars or shifting track conditions. Those split-second decisions matter, and Ferrari keeps hesitating when it counts the most. Even Hamilton has reportedly pushed for quicker, sharper calls from the pit wall, showing this problem is still very real inside the team. And in the 2026 era, that weakness hits even harder than before. Now, it's not just about having the fastest car, it's about managing energy, picking the perfect moment to strike, and reading the race as it unfolds in real time. Red Bull mastered that game for years, always staying one step ahead. But now, with key people leaving, cracks are starting to show. And right in the middle of that shift, one name keeps popping up: Hannah Schmitz. As the mastermind behind race strategy, she's known for staying ice-cold under pressure and making bold calls when others freeze. Max Verstappen once said, "She's incredibly calm." Simply put, she's exceptional. That says everything you need to know. So many of Red Bull's biggest wins have come down to split-second calls, and those calls go straight through her. Now, with rumors heating up about a possible move to Ferrari, things are starting to feel very serious. This raises a bigger question: if Ferrari brings in someone like Schmitz, are they just fixing a weak spot? Or are they about to become the most dangerous team on the entire grid? And if you really want to understand how massive that move could be, you need to look deeper into what's going on behind the scenes. This isn't just about Ferrari getting better, it's about Red Bull slowly losing the system that made them unstoppable for so long. One key role on the pit wall might not sound like much, but it can flip an entire season upside down when the pressure hits. Over the past few years, Red Bull has been hit with a wave of departures. One by one, they didn't seem like a huge deal. But together, it's a completely different story. Adrian Newey, one of the most legendary designers in Formula One history, is gone. Christian Horner, the man who defined the team's leadership era, is no longer in charge. That alone would shake any team. And it doesn't stop there. Helmut Marko, the longtime advisor and mastermind behind their driver program, has also stepped away. Big names like Jonathan Wheatley, Rob Marshall, and Will Courtney have all moved on too, leaving gaps that are hard to ignore. Then came another shock. Gianpiero Lambiase, Max Verstappen's trusted race engineer, is set to leave and join McLaren as Chief Racing Officer in 2028. That's not just a change. That's a serious shift in power. This isn't normal turnover at all. This is a steady loss of top-level figures across multiple layers of the team, and that kind of shift hits hard. Kenny Handkammer F1, a former Red Bull chief mechanic with decades of experience in Formula One, didn't try to sugarcoat it either. Speaking on his podcast, he said, "The downfall of Red Bull is pretty tragic. If I was CEO, I'd be keeping a very close watch on this. These critical people are either already gone or on their way out." That's not just talk, that's coming from someone who truly understands how these teams operate behind closed doors. And that's what makes it serious. Formula One teams aren't just random groups of people thrown together. They're tight systems built on trust, relationships, and years of shared experience. When too many of those pieces disappear, the whole structure starts to shift in ways you can't easily fix. Handkammer went further, still pointing at Schmitz herself as a potential next departure. According to him, conversations were already taking place between her and significant figures elsewhere in the paddock. And if those talks lead where many expect them to, Red Bull's problems just got a whole lot bigger. That's where things start to get messy. Because now the question isn't just about replacing one person, it's how do you reconfigure the team? That question says everything. Red Bull isn't just swapping out parts anymore, they're being pushed into completely rethinking how they run the entire operation. And right in the middle of all this stands Hannah Schmitz. She joined Red Bull back in 2009 after graduating from Cambridge, bringing a strong background in mechanical engineering and optimization theory skills that would later become a serious weapon on race day. Over time, she climbed through the strategy department step by step, building serious authority along the way. She became senior strategy engineer in 2011, then principal strategy engineer in 2021, and finally head of race strategy in 2026. That journey matters because she didn't just follow the system, she helped shape how Red Bull thinks and reacts under pressure. You can see her influence in some of the team's most decisive and high-pressure wins. Take the 2022 Hungarian Grand Prix, for example. Verstappen started all the way down in 10th place, and the original plan was to run a stint on hard tyres. But during the formation lap, both drivers made it clear that grip levels were way lower than expected. That's where things could have gone wrong fast. Schmitz stepped in and made a late call to switch things up, adjusting the plan in real time while the pressure was building. What followed was a series of bold, perfectly timed pit stops that cut through the chaos and pushed Verstappen right up the field. By the end of it, he wasn't just recovering, he was winning the race. Afterward, Verstappen made it clear, saying, "Today, I think Hannah, our strategist, was insanely calm. She's very good." And it wasn't a one-off moment either. Back at the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix, another risky move changed everything. A third pit stop was called at a moment where track position was sacrificed, which could have backfired badly. But the thinking was that sharp, fresh tyres would create such a pace advantage that it would cancel out the loss. That gamble paid off exactly as planned, and Verstappen charged back through to take the win in style. These decisions show a clear pattern. Schmitz works with a mix of preparation and flexibility that hits differently when the pressure is on. Pre-race simulations give her a solid base, but she doesn't just follow them blindly like a script. She brings in real-time data, listens closely to driver feedback, and reads the race as it unfolds before locking in the final call. That sharp, adaptive approach is exactly what Ferrari has been missing. Even with clear improvements in car performance, Ferrari's strategy has often come off as reactive instead of proactive. There are moments where decisions take too long, as if they're waiting for perfect data that never really comes. Other times they lean towards safer calls that protect position instead of creating real opportunities to win. And to be clear, this isn't about a lack of skill. Ferrari's strategy team has the resources and the technical knowledge to compete at the highest level. The real issue is how those decisions are made when the pressure spikes, and whether the system allows someone to step up and make a bold call without hesitation. That's where things start to slip. Lewis Hamilton's reported push for sharper decision-making shows that this problem is already being recognized inside the team. And in today's regulations, where every second counts, even a small delay can cost everything. The 2026 rules have taken things to another level, making energy management more important than ever. Power units now depend heavily on electrical deployment, and active aerodynamics add even more pressure with constant switching between configurations. That's a lot to handle in real time, and it's not forgiving at all. Races are no longer decided just by raw speed. They're shaped by how well teams manage all these moving parts while everything is happening fast. Red Bull has thrived in this kind of environment because they don't just prepare well, they execute even better. Their simulation work is strong, but what really sets them apart is how quickly they act on it. Schmitz has been right at the center of that system, connecting the data to the final call without hesitation. Ferrari, on the other hand, has struggled to turn solid preparation into perfect race execution, and that gap keeps showing up when it matters most. If Schmitz were to make the move to Ferrari, the impact would be immediate and impossible to ignore. The way decisions are made on the pit wall would likely shift fast. Instead of a more spread-out process, there would be a clear, central voice calling the shots under pressure. The planning would still be there, but the real difference would come in how quickly and confidently those plans are executed. Pit stops, tyre choices, and reactions to race events would happen faster, with less second-guessing slowing things down. That kind of sharp decision-making could change everything in key moments like safety car deployments, sudden weather shifts, or tight strategy battles involving undercuts and overcuts where timing is everything. And it's not just about the technical side. There's a cultural edge too. Schmitz is known for being calm, direct, and confident when the pressure is at its peak. She brings clarity when things start to get chaotic, cutting through confusion and keeping the team locked in when every second counts. That level of clarity can shape the entire team, from engineers all the way to the drivers. For Leclerc and Hamilton, it could mean one huge shift, trusting the strategy without hesitation. And when drivers truly trust the pit wall, they're far more willing to go all in on aggressive calls, which opens the door to bigger race-winning opportunities. At Red Bull, that kind of trust has been obvious for years. Verstappen's comments about Schmitz's composure aren't just compliments, they reflect a deep confidence in the whole system around him. But if that system loses her, the damage could go way beyond just one race result. Red Bull is already going through a serious transition phase. With Newey, Horner, and Marko no longer in place, the leadership structure has already taken a hit. Losing Schmitz on top of that would cut even deeper, especially in one of the most critical areas, race execution. That's where races are won or lost in seconds. Handkammer's concern starts to hit harder in this context. He said, "All these key personnel, it's really worrying. How do you rebuild the team?" And honestly, that question says everything about where Red Bull stands right now. Because rebuilding a Formula One team isn't something you fix overnight. It's not just about swapping people in and out. It's about rebuilding trust, communication, and rhythm between strategy, engineering, and operations. That kind of alignment takes serious time to get right. And that's where Ferrari stands in a completely different position. They're not tearing things down, they're sharpening what they already have, getting closer and closer to something very dangerous on the grid. The car is fast, the drivers are proven, and the management structure is more stable than it's been in years. On paper, Ferrari has almost everything it needs, but the real gap shows up in execution, especially in those intense, real-time race moments where everything can flip in seconds. Bringing in a strategist like Schmitz could hit that problem directly and change how the team reacts under pressure. Now, it wouldn't suddenly guarantee total dominance. Formula One doesn't work like that. The competition is still fierce and rivals will keep evolving. But what it could do is remove a repeated weakness that has held Ferrari back from turning strong performances into actual wins. And in a championship where the difference comes down to seconds across an entire season, that kind of upgrade can be massive. That's why this rumored move feels bigger than just a simple transfer. It hints at a shift in balance between two top teams. One side could lose a critical piece of its decision-making core, while the other gains exactly what it's been lacking for years. That kind of swap can shake things up in a serious way. This isn't just speculation for the sake of headlines. It's about understanding how one key role right at the center of race execution can influence everything around it. Small changes in personnel can create huge swings in performance when the margins are this tight. So now the question stands, if Hannah Schmitz does leave Red Bull and joins Ferrari, is that the moment Ferrari finally turns raw potential into consistent results? Or does even a top-level strategist still depend on the system around them to truly make the difference? Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments.